Hi, my name is Bayo Adeyinka. Now let me start by mentioning the fact that there are three levels of intelligence that is available for everybody. Now the most popular one that everybody knows is what we call the intelligence quotient, your IQ. And your IQ measures how smart you are. So when you go to academics, a lot of people who want to get into a job and they need to be measured by how smart they are by engaging in certain types of questions and all of that. What measures how smart you are is the level of your IQ. The second level of intelligence is your emotional intelligence. This has become very popular nowadays, where people talk about your EQ. It measures your social intelligence, your emotional intelligence, about how your emotions, your feelings, and now you can adapt that to be able to succeed in life. It has also become something very important nowadays. But there is another level of intelligence that many people rarely talk about, but is equally, if not more important than the other levels of intelligence that we have mentioned, is your relational intelligence, your RQ, your relational intelligence. And it measures how smart you are in your relationships. Now, recent studies have shown that your IQ accounts for about 4% to 10% of your career success. So it means that you may be able to get a job by how smart you are, but keeping that job will demand some other levels of intelligence. So about 4 to 10%, maximum of 10% of your career success is about how smart you are, is about your IQ. So you may get a job by having a high IQ, but you can only move up the ladder by having a high RQ, your relational quotient, your relational intelligence. So the higher you rise or the higher you go, the less you will have to depend solely on your intellectual expertise. What I usually tell people is that there is nothing you know that other people don't know. There are equally so many people who are smart. Even in your career, in your profession, there are so many other people who are also very smart. So the higher you go, or the higher you progress in your career, the higher you rise, the less you will have to depend solely on your intellectual expertise. You will have to start leveraging on relationships. You will have to start leveraging on relationships. So we are now back to a situation where it is no longer what you know, but who you know. Can I say that again? It is no longer about what you know, but who you know. So it's a combination of everything, don't get me wrong. You will still need your IQ, you will still need your emotional intelligence, but more than ever, when you're rising up the ladder of your career, or when you need to leverage more on business relationships, when you need to grow your business or activate your social enterprise, you will need to leverage on your relational quotient. So this brings me to our major topic of discussion. So the three types of network that you must cultivate in order to succeed in life, whether you're talking about your business, you're talking about your career, you're talking about your social entrepreneur, as a social entrepreneur, or whatever endeavor you are involved in, there are three types of network that you must cultivate to succeed. Number one, operational network. The operational network. Now, when you're talking about the operational network, you're talking about the people in your immediate circle of influence. The people in your immediate circle of influence. You're talking about your family, you're talking about your colleagues at work, you're talking about your neighbors. Okay, if you belong to a religious organization, you're talking about people in your church. You belong to a club or a society, you're talking about people in that club or that society. So the people in your immediate circle of influence, you can regard them as your operational network. You will need this type of network or this type of relationship in your life. Now, we discover that a lot of people get help, whether in their career, in their business, just by talking to somebody in their immediate circle of influence. So this is not a kind of network that you can relegate to the background. That is why you must never take anybody for granted. Whether that person is your neighbor, that person is a church member, you worship together in the same mosque, the person is your cousin, everybody is important. If I may give you an example, I have gotten a referral for a good job just from somebody who was a member of the church that I attend. Okay, and this person taught my wife how to drive. He was running a driving school at that time. That was his business, and he gave a good recommendation, which led to that person calling me for a job, and I got hired. Okay, so your operational network is very important. That the people, the relationship in that bucket, they're very important. Your immediate circle of influence is something that you need to groom, to nurture, and to cultivate. So let's talk about the second one. The second network that you need to cultivate is what I call the developmental network. Your developmental network. Now, what do we mean by your developmental network? That is the particular kind of network or relationship that you can turn to for support or advice. Everybody needs someone that you can either turn to for counsel, for advice, or to bounce off ideas off them. So it may be your supervisor at work, it may be your pastor, it may be a senior friend. These are the kind of people who help you to develop. They challenge you, they motivate you, they stretch you, they inspire you. You can bounce off ideas off them. So that is called your developmental network or developmental relationships. So you need this kind of bucket, this kind of network also in your life for you to be able to succeed at whatever you do. So let's talk about the final one. The third kind of network that you need to cultivate, the third one is your strategic network. Your strategic network. Now, the strategic network are the people that you need to be able to achieve your future aspiration or your vision. Your strategic network are those people, those relationships that help you to get into your tomorrow. They help you to get into your tomorrow. It can be a mentor, that can be a coach, that can even be the MD of your company. It can actually be your line manager. But your strategic network are the people who help you to get into your tomorrow. There are people who you can ride on their shoulders. You can take a leap on their shoulders for you to get what you are envisioning, for you to be able to get your future aspiration. They help you. They can help you by way of recommendation, by putting in a word for you, or even by actually being the person that will influence whatever will happen in your future. Now, what do you need to do to these networks and relationships that I've mentioned? Number one, you cultivate them. You need to cultivate these relationships. These relationships will not come of their own to you. You need to go after them. You need to be very conscious about every relationship that is in your life. There is a reason why those relationships are there. So cultivate them. Go after them. You need to be able to grow them. Number two, you maximize them. Maximize these relationships. Leverage on them. Okay? There are people you need to talk to. If you need to talk to somebody, talk to them. If you need to get their help, get their help. Maximize these relationships in your life. Number three, the third thing you need to do, stop taking relationships at face value. Stop taking relationships at face value. Most of us are very laid back when it talks to the issue of relationships. Okay, we just take relationships at face value. We just bypass them. We don't recognize the importance of those relationships. We don't do anything about them, and those relationships are there in our lives. Everybody has somebody. It does not matter your state or your background in life. Everybody has somebody. So if I were you, I would sit down today and begin to take account of the kind of network in my life. I will take stock, I will take a biro, I will take a paper, and I will begin to write their names and begin to categorize them on the various buckets that I've spoken to in this video. And finally, treat people well. Treat people well. It doesn't cost you anything to treat people well. Whether people are under you or they are above you, treat people well. Treat your mentors well. Treat your neighbors well. Treat the people who work with you well. Treat your friends well. Let people understand that you are nice. People give opportunity to people who are nice. So treat people well, and then you begin to see your career grow. Thank you for your time with me today. Till another time, my name is Bayo Adeyinka. God bless you.